This chapter is all about grounding, and I want to introduce y'all to different grounding techniques that have been very useful in my practice and for myself whenever I'm dysregulated. And I think it's very important that we remember that as human beings, we are sentient beings. It can be very normal to be dysregulated. However, when we are so fully dysregulated that we cannot think clearly or find comfort in our bodies, then it can be very upsetting, especially for neurodivergent folks that might have more sensitivities to stimulation or textures and body sensations. And sometimes the world is very ableist. And so from the perspective of disavowing that rigid way of being and instead embracing our unique way of being and existing in the world, grounding could be a very powerful tool to just put us back in our window of tolerance. So the window of tolerance will be the kind of like happy medium where we can feel, we can think fairly clearly, we have access to our frontal lobes, our imaginations, but we're not so overwhelmed. And being hyper aroused is when things are moving so quickly. One might be feeling like tension, anxiety, rapid heartbeat, or shallow breath. And the opposite, being hypo aroused, is when you're feeling too little, kind of detached, feeling not enough, maybe tuned and checked out. I think when it comes to neurodivergence, sometimes substance use comes into play just from not understanding how to cope with different situations or not relating to the rigidity of expectations. But it's very important that we cultivate an internal way of experiencing freedom in our lives. So these grounding techniques, I welcome you to practice them with me. I hope you really enjoy them. And we're going to be talking about grounding in other episodes as well. But in this one, that is the focus. So there's three types of grounding that I like to use. One is mental, emotional, and physical. And the way I like to think of them is, what do I have more access to? Like, if my thoughts are racing, it would be very difficult to use my thoughts in that case to start to regulate. But if my body feels more accessible to me, maybe that would be a good starting point. So start with where there's low-hanging fruit. Emotional freedom technique is a very, very marvelous one that combines emotions and physical. But let's start with some very simple physical ones. So start by grabbing an object in your environment. I'll grab this little glasses cleaner and this pointer that I use for brain spotting. So as you hold these two objects, note any two objects in your environment. These are very easy to use. Just notice them, notice their weight, their texture, and so forth. And just be aware of their color, their physicality. It can shift. The way grounding works is that it shifts the part of the brain that's in operation. So simply by putting attention on the objects, you're automatically shifting your attention. Next, we have a simple one that requires a little bit of focus, but hopefully is not too stressful. So we'll just count backwards by 5. So 100, 95, 90, 85, 80, 75, 70, 65, 60, and so forth. And just keep going all the way to 0. Next, again, from seeking safety, we think of categories. So think of all the categories of plants that you're aware of. Just mentally make a list of those. For this one, I do like to sometimes use things that give me joy, so that's why I named plants. Perhaps you love animals. Think of all the animals that you're aware of. And when we do this, keep in mind that you want to keep your awareness of animals sort of judgment-free. Try to neutralize the way you speak to yourself. So no matter how few or how many that come to mind, it's all okay. Now think of places you've visited. And think of different fruit. Think of genres of music. Another way that we can disrupt a harmful or challenging feeling, mood, or moment is by challenging different distortions. So thought distortions include like all or nothing thinking, or magical thinking, like assuming that we know how things are going to turn out even if we don't have the information, or because an emotion is strong, thinking we have the answer or some kind of insight. Another distortion is just name calling towards yourself or another. If it feels excessive, if it feels stuck, we can always challenge these distortions. So we are the sculptor. We have the capacity to rewrite our narratives. So these can be beneficial to simply rewrite in a way that feels true to you, but that can be more nuanced and more in the space of possibility, or perhaps boundary setting, just allowing, rather than sinking into a feeling of distress, to allow the feeling to guide. What do we need? Do we simply need to set a boundary? Do we need rest, or do we need a snack? Anything like that. So I want to share a couple of insights from this really great book, Polysecure, and I find this book hugely beneficial. Even if you are a cis hetero straight couple, this book is very beneficial because it shows us an in-depth look and a very compassionate look on attachment styles. And the reason why I bring up attachment styles is that when we can attune to ourselves and when we can attune to the other in a way that is very present and very safe and caring and tolerant of some discomfort, but seeking solutions, or simply just being with the other, even without words, maybe co-regulating through dance or walking. It's very beneficial to become a secure attachment when we attune, when we make room for attunement. So here's some attachment styles, and I love that she expresses them in this fluid way to kind of show us that we can move through attachment styles. So we can move. Secure is the goal, right? Ideally, we would be securely attached. But if we've had disruptions in our care as children, that might be something that we have to develop as an older adult or in our adulthood. So secure attachment is low avoidance, low anxiety. Preoccupied attachment is low avoidance but high anxiety. Fearful attachment is high anxiety and high avoidance. And dismissive attachment is low anxiety and high avoidance. I love that her kind of response to that is the nested attachment style, because this is something that is more innate to collectivist cultures, indigenous cultures, ancestral cultures. And if you're a child of immigrant, that might feel really, really good. It's like connecting to self and romantic relationship and to the home and to the community and to society. I know that I've shared this other tool about how creativity expands that connection. But according to Gabor Mate in this book, Scattered Minds, attunement is definitely the medicine for that disrupted attachment style that's very innate to capitalism. So because of the disturbances that we're feeling socially around us, creative practice can be so wonderful. So I welcome you to practice. And I just want to share a couple of quotes from some readings that really moved me. So, love requires us to face reality and embrace pain as a part of the healing process. So, you can see how in All About Love, Bell Hooks understands that part of being in our window of tolerance is being able to resolve or work through challenges, tolerate some distress, right? But not being flooded. So grounding is a process of returning to an ability to face reality. And this is also being in right relationship, is that sacred reciprocity, that give and take, that is mentioned in Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmer. So she talks about repairing sacred reciprocity, repairing the understanding that although in Indigenous culture there wasn't previously a commerce, it was more an exchange, but there are ties of obligation. We do have an obligation to the other. The example she gave was so sweet. She said, for example, if your grandmother gives you socks, you should wear those socks every time she visits, which is adorable. And so true. Wear the socks your grandmother made you. And so those are different ways that we can show love and nurturing in the smallest of ways. In When Nothing Works, Norma Wong says, healing begins when you accept your pain as a teacher guiding you towards deeper understanding. I know this has been shared in many powerful ways. I love this way that she guides us to not stay stuck in the pain, but take the wisdom of it and let us be guided through the pain so that we can build what's next for the children that have yet to be born. So in the artist way, they recommend to list your dreams. I welcome you to do so, especially in a time when sometimes our relationship even to dreaming could be disrupted. I know that comes up for clients, and it has come up for me in the past as well. But art has definitely helped me move through that and just simply be in the dreaming. And then Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act, is about sharing the art. So y'all are part of that dream. As awkward and challenging as this could be for me, I want to build community. I want to enter a dialogue with folks about how can we expand creatively so that we are all set free in the process. So thank you all for being here today, and I hope you can share with me which grounding practices you enjoyed or the creative expression practice. So it is important to be about it, not just talk about it. So so just practice. It's all in the practice and in the embodiment. Okay. So thank you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.